What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Grow Up Level Up Gamers Club. And hey, if it's your first time joining us, let me tell you that Grow Up Level Up Gamers Club is the podcast where two blue-shirted friends, coincidentally, come on and talk about the games you should be playing in your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5 day-to-day. So, welcome to the show. Today, we are going to talk about my experience at the Twitch Vancouver Creator Meetup last weekend. And maybe a little bit about the games I played there. Plus, we'll touch on a couple other games we've been playing in our 5 to 9 as well. Let me not get ahead of myself because this is the Grow Up Level Up Gamers Club. Cue the intro. All right, yeah, pregnant pause there. Welcome back to the Grow Up Level Up Gamers Club. My name is Samson, and joined to me is the ever illustrious Jordan, aka Sir Dr. JM. What's up, Jordan?
Not a lot, just wearing my blue shirt here.
And if you're listening on the podcast, I recommend you come over to YouTube, where I am also wearing a blue shirt. So if you want to see two blue-shirted dudes chat about
premium content.
Stuff. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we're a YouTube show, but I guess we're also in your podcast ears as well. Pulling back the curtain a little bit, we're actually getting quite a number of views on YouTube. So thank you for...
Really?
Yeah, I think...
Wow, okay.
Well, by a lot. We're still small beans, but we're like, I would say average 10 plus.
Okay.
Per episode.
Yeah, it's numbers.
So thank you to everyone who has been listening so far and subscribing and sharing around. Actually, like I said earlier, I went to the Vancouver Creator Meetup, met a couple new folks there. So if it's your first time checking us out, thank you so much. We are a weekly podcast where we chat about the cool games we've been playing. Jordan and I don't work in games. We work in completely unrelated fields, but we both enjoy playing games. And this podcast serves as an inspiration for those who also do the same as us. And as we recommend certain games for you to play in your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5. We also do another show called Grow Up Level Up, the original Grow Up Level Up. It's an interview series where I primarily interview folks that are either in games adjacent, maybe like us, not in the games industry, about how they integrate fun and games into their lives. We are about like 31 episodes deep, and there's a really big backlog. If you check out our channel, you'll be able to see all that as well. And that is an interview series that we do once in a while, but we got a really cool one coming up for next week. So make sure you stay subscribed for that, and I'll share a little bit more about that later in the episode. However, you came for one thing only, maybe two things. And it is my experience at the Twitch Vancouver Creator Meetup last Saturday, October 19th. Sorry, I was pulling up the calendar. I went to a Vancouver, or it was called the Twitch Vancouver Creator Meetup, put on by an organization called Twitch Vancouver. Let me pull up the main organizer's name. But for context, Twitch Vancouver is not officially sponsored by Twitch or like owned by Twitch. They are kind of, I think, just a group that wanted Twitch's backing. I think somebody explained it as like they're technically powered by Twitch. So Twitch let them use some logos, some branding, some swag, but they are an independent kind of group who put on this event. I think the person who founded it is actually Clara Sia. She is the senior influencer strategist at Devolver Digital.
Oh,
so she's got some connections. She's been in the industry for a while, it sounds like. Clara Sia, founder of Twitch Vancouver. And Twitch Vancouver, they used to do a lot of meetups, apparently, every couple months, way back in 2019. But then the pandemic kind of shut that all down, right?
Darn pandemic.
Yeah, there's a little nip in the bud. But pandemic is behind us. I can't believe it's been almost 5 years since we shut down. Anyways, they are looking to start that up again, and this is their first one in 5 years, it sounds like. So awesome. It was an honor to be there. It was a free event. I was not paid or wasn't exclusive or anything, but I went just to represent.
One day.
Yeah, maybe guest speaker. I don't know. I just went to represent Grow Up Level Up play some cool games, and give you some impressions of the games that are being made here in Vancouver, and maybe one that you might be able to play very soon. Actually, some of these games are on Steam, so the games that I can link, I'll make sure to put in the description below. So if you hear something that is totally your vibe, definitely go check that out. Maybe before I dive into game to game, I'll talk a little about my overall experience. Does that sound all right?
Let's hear about it.
So, like I said, Twitch Vancouver put on this event. It took place at Blackbird Interactive, a studio here in Vancouver. You might have heard of them from some games such as Dauntless, I believe is made by Blackbird Studios. Jordan, fact check me.
Dauntless, developer. Sorry. Dauntless. I see Phoenix Labs and Iron Galaxy.
Oh, no, Phoenix Labs. Okay, I mixed it up. Blackbird Interactive. They must have made this other game. Let's just see what other games they have made. It's a space game. You're like a space or a space astronaut going to fix the ship, I believe that is. They made Homeworld 3. So that's pretty big. Minecraft Legends.
Yeah,
Hard Space Shipbreaker was the one I was thinking of.
I see. I was going to say, yeah, those first two are actually pretty well-known titles. So I'm surprised that Homeworld 3 and Minecraft Legends, I'm like, okay, this is the real deal here.
Yeah. They are on this street in Vancouver, street, road, whatever you call it, this area in Vancouver called Great Northern Way. And what has been happening over the past 5-10-ish years is a lot of Vancouver's, I would say, studios or like people that are in the digital arts have started moving there and kind of center themselves there. So Blackbird Interactive, like I said, was one of them. A school here called Emily Carr also is situated there. Emily Carr University.
I have a good friend who attended Emily. He was in my wedding. He still lives in the area, so.
Oh, right on. Yeah. So Emily Carr is an art school, but they do all kinds of arts, like traditional and digital. I think BCIT, so British Columbia Institute of Technology, has a campus there. And another big one that you might know is a studio called EA. EA is also EA Electronic Arts. Let me try to quickly yoink up a photo here. If you're watching the YouTube video, please come on over and let me show you this one picture I took of the EA studio. Really bad. It was dark and rainy that night too. We were having like a record-breaking storm here in Vancouver the night that this all happened. Yeah.
Oh man,
it was crazy. But anyways, yeah, EA is made here, and they, I believe, I might be wrong. Feel free to fact check me again, Jordan, or anybody in the comments. This is the studio that primarily makes Apex Legends. So if you played Apex Legends, this EA studio made it. The one in Vancouver. So we went on a huge tangent, but I found it really exciting, and I wanna shut up Vancouver as much as I can.
I was gonna say the fact that you can say a sentence like I forget what you started with, but we have tons of game developers in the area is a cool sentence to me. I mean, for those who don't know, I lived in Calgary most of my life, and you can't say that in Calgary. And in Edmonton, we have the pleasure of being able to say BioWare's here. And that's about it, really. In terms of, bigger development studios, I'm sure there are some smaller ones and things like that. Definitely some indies, but yeah, we don't have those big names like EA and, I know
Blackbird. We have a lot of support studios, I would say. Like I know Adam Hawk also has a campus out here, and they do a lot of support work for a whole bunch of different studios and games. But there has been a lot of closures as well. Like a lot of folks that did come from studios here. I think very popular one is United Front Games, I believe, made Sleeping Dogs. They were very famous, and unfortunately they closed. So, but there's still lots of people here in Vancouver that are well versed in the digital arts.
And
anyways,
you wanted the fact check. EA Vancouver is primarily known for all things EA Sports. They say FIFA, NHL, and UFC are all focused at this studio. So
there's 2 EA studios though. In Vancouver. There's the Burnaby campus. That might be what it's talking about, and that is the sport one. I know we're spoiled of riches here in Vancouver.
Goodness
So many places
gracious.
to
My
work.
fact checking just got fact checked live.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll come back to it. We'll let the commenters figure that one out.
Fair enough.
Anyways, going back to the event, we tangented way over to EA. Blackbird Interactive, we went in, and it was like a meetup. Like, you had a place to get pizza and drinks. You had people with their laptops set up. Some folks had their laptops in rooms set up for game demos, and people were just mingling around, chatting, networking. I think my time at my old job, where there was a lot of these kind of networking events, really helped me navigate this. But it was cool because there are lots of folks who were just demoing games that were in a playable state, but they were actively looking for feedback. One game I played, I'll touch on later. I just hopped on and I started playing. And then as I was playing, the developer was asking, is like, okay, how does it feel? Like, what games do you usually play? Okay. I think I hit a bug at some point, and he like wrote it down. He's like, great, I haven't seen that yet. so he wrote down the part that there was a bug. So there were people like, quote unquote, working, but everyone was also kind of having a good time, like meeting, chatting, just learning and networking. And I think those events, at least in Vancouver, are rare in the video game industry. I think a lot of folks don't do that for video games specifically, especially indie games. But I want to say there was like 100 people there, and I want to say there was like 20 or 30 demos of just people plopping open their laptops and setting up a little booth. That's so awesome. There is an interest for this kind of stuff, and I would love to see more. But enough of that. I would love to tell more stories from this, but I gave Jordan a list of the games I played. Oh, and I didn't actually get to play all the games there. I played a handful in between the chatting, and then I had to go, unfortunately, so I wasn't able to play everything. But of all the games I played, I tried my best to like take some notes to be able to talk about it today on the pod, as well as if I'm able to find the projects I talked about, I will make sure to link it in the description below. Nice. So support these devs. Yeah, they're really cool.
That's great. And before you pivot, it reminds me that this, it must have been in the summer. I want to say it was in June or so. I don't believe I ever talked about it on the show here. I may have briefly, but GameCon Canada was in Edmonton, and it looks like they're going to be in Edmonton next year as well. They're trying to be a Canadian gaming-focused convention. I mean, they're doing a pretty good job of it. Like, it was a rather large convention at the Edmonton Expo Center, and I just pulled up their website. They say they're a 3-day gaming expo where attendees will have access to play hundreds of games from video game studios and board game developers from around the world. And it sounds, obviously a Twitch meetup kind of thing, a little more intimate, but, you mentioned the demos to play and everything. And having been to a number of, our comic or, entertainment expos that we do have out here, this one felt like that, but there was definitely a big focus on games. And they did have a lot of indie developers with booths sort of set up in this one area where you could just go from, literally every 5 feet, you could sit down and try another game developer's, in development game. So it sounds kind of similar to that, which it was really cool to see that because, like I say, I've been going to these conventions for quite a while now since I was, just out of high school. And that was a neat twist on the convention from what I've seen. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I caught that last bit because, Jordan, I'll be honest, my internet cut out for like 30 seconds.
Oh, no. Did it?
Of all the weeks that we've done this so far, this is the first time we had an internet hiccup. But that is true. Great because I caught the beginning and I caught the end. So,
okay.
So GameCon Canada it sounds great. Whatever everybody heard, I know what? Check it out.
I saw you freeze a little bit there, and then the quality of your video dropped, but I didn't notice you disconnect or anything. So
it didn't say anything. Interesting.
It didn't notify me. It didn't pop up on the screen. So do we just cross our fingers that the recording is okay?
I think the show must go on.
Go on. All right. Then I'm drop in this bomb before we pivot.
All right.
United Front Games, you shouted them out earlier, and I've got to shout them out again because they also made the hit PlayStation 3 title Mod Nation Racers, which was a joy. It was a little before Sleeping Dogs. I think they got some good attention with Sleeping Dogs, but I love Mod Nation Racers. That game was
I didn't know that was made by them. Yeah, I remember spending a lot of hours on that. It was it was the racing game, but it was also Little Big Planet. Two things I love. Mario Kart, but Little Big Planet.
Very
awesome.
true.
All right, let's get into the topic of the show. Jordan, I think you prepared something for us.
Yes, I have. Let me hide that from my view, and I will share my screen here and hope I don't break the recording and everything. I hope my computer has enough computing power so everyone can see the wheel.
The technology is here. If you are listening on podcast, right. Jordan pulled up a very elaborate spinning wheel, like a Wheel of Fortune kind of dealio.
That's right. Now, Samson, why don't you tell the guests here what this wheel has on it?
Sure. So, like I said, at the meetup, I didn't get time to play every single game, but I did try to get, how many games are on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10-ish games down, and got some impressions and wrote them down and met the developers. I wrote down my impressions, like I said, and how this is going to work is Jordan is going to methodically spin the wheel to choose a game that I will talk about next. So,
here we go.
If we're ready, let's do it.
Drum roll, please. Oh, it has sound. Can you hear that?
Nope.
I did not know it had sound.
We don't.
We're going to
Davigo. Davigo. It's so Davigo. I think it would be a fun game, Jordan, if you, in one sentence, tried to guess what this game was.
All right. Davigo is actually a flamingo simulator where the flamingo that you play as is named David, and he also navigates daily life in the city via scooter, which is where you get David, you get Go, and you get the flamingo.
I feel like you're on to something there, but unfortunately it is none of those things.
Oh.
Maybe the simulator thing, but the Vigo is actually a VR versus PC physics battle game.
Wow.
Become the giant in VR or a small knight on the PC and fight your friends in local or online matches.
Well,
so how this works?
I could not have been more off.
It's an interesting name because, yeah, I feel like it was made from the developer's studio or like their own name. But I think the developer's name, his name was Andy. So, yeah, I'm not sure where Davigo came from.
Maybe some, David versus Goliath type thing.
Oh, dude.
David, Goliath.
I think you're right. I think it's a David versus Goliath
I think that's
thing.
gotta be it, right? That's cool.
You're right. Let me pull up the Steam page for those watching on the old YouTubes. But the Vigo is a VR game. The person in VR wears the goggles, has the two controllers, and in the game they are like a head and two giant hands. The person playing on PC, they are a little person or like little figurine, and they'll run around and do some like Attack on Titan stuff where you're grappling and pulling yourself higher. You're picking up weapons to shoot. Yeah, shoot the rocket, shoot the boss. So it is honestly. So I played one round as the boss, one round as the little guy, and both methods actually felt really good. Like the VR, I'm not used to VR, so it took a while to like orient myself. And, like I had to figure out that I had to actually duck to dodge attacks.
Oh, okay.
But once I figured that out, I was like, oh, I'm really into this. I'm like trying to look for the guy. Like you can kind of move your giant character around as well. So at some point, the person I was playing against, he was hiding behind like part of the map was there's a big cliff, so he was hiding behind a cliff, but I couldn't get to him, so I had to like crawl my character over to him. So it's pretty cool. It felt really good, which I was like surprised too, because I've played a lot of VR games where it's kind of floaty and not very weird. Yeah,
this actually looks awesome. I'm watching the video of the gameplay, and I love that it's the gameplay's cutting between perspectives of the giant versus the little dude.
Yeah,
and I love that the motion of the little dude looks very fluid. But when you are the giant, it does a really good job, I think, of conveying the scale. The little dude like looks so quick and like he's, flying around here and zip zap zooping. And I'm actually super into this. This is really cool looking.
Yeah, it's really interesting to play for sure. Because yeah, when you're in that big Goliath mode, I think that's the more interesting perspective to play as. Like, you're always looking for this little guy, and you're not as mobile as the little guy, so you're trying to grab objects to throw at them. At the same time, you're using the way you move around is you like pull yourself along the ground to move around, like you drag yourself. And at the same time, you're like physically dipping and ducking and dodging attacks that the little guy tries to send at you. There's at one point, the guy I was playing against, he went under me, like under the head, so I had to like suddenly like look downwards and move left and right and try to find him. So that was a really interesting experience. It definitely felt like the sense of scale they definitely nailed. Cool. Yeah, Davigo. It's on Steam. It's already out in early access, so definitely check it out. I'll link it below.
Looks like it's been out in early access for about a year, and it has very positive reviews, says Steam. So this is such a neat idea. Like, this is the kind of thing that I feel like, this is the promise of VR that I think many people want, but, unless you're really into the ecosystem, you don't hear about these things. And, I don't think something like this has really broken through. But this video is fantastic. Just watching that little guy fly around and everything.
And it goes up to 4 players as well. So you can have one big guy versus 4 little guys, or 4 Davids versus 1 Goliath. As well as I believe only the VR person needs to own the game. Okay. Everyone else can just
that's a great idea.
Join on the VR person. So
share play kind of thing. Cool. That's wicked.
It's really cool. Check it out, Davigo.
All right.
Bringing it back to the Wheel of Fortune.
That's the Wheel of Games, I would say.
Wheel of Games.
Let's see. Wheel of Games. Fly. Full screen. All right, here we go. Are we ready for another?
We're rolling.
Here we
drum
go.
rolls in the chat. Oh, there's actually a drum roll sound effect.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. You couldn't have timed that better.
That was pretty good.
That was wicked.
Stellations. Ooh, let me see as I talk if I can pull up.
You pull that up,
this game is.
And I'll tell you what Stellations is before you get it up. Stellations is a constellation game where you play as a little star named Stella who just wants to be a big constellation. A big part. Let's go with a part of a constellation.
Big part of a constellation. You know what? Not as far off as the other one.
As Davigo?
I'll be honest. As Davigo. Although you figured out the naming. Stellations is a mind mapping game, is how they described it.
Oh,
what? There's a funny sound from somewhere. Probably just
video there.
So Stellations is the way the developer credited it was, it's a mind mapping game. Let me just pull up my notes here all the way. Don't mind me.
Enter a mind palace made of your muscle memory, thought loops, and vicious circles. Chase, be chased, escape.
Yes. So it was pretty early. I think there was only like 4 levels complete, and there were more like 4 levels with 4 different goals. So they didn't really relate to each other. It was very much a work in progress.
Right.
Milan is the developer. That's the developer's name. And the goal of this game, it's different for each level. Some of them is like move your little guy along the line and trace it. Some of it is carry a little dot to another dot, so you're carrying something through space. There's ones that's like skill based. But how it works, if you're watching the video, it is like a black screen, and there is some sort of wavy shape that closes in on itself, so it's like a circle or it's like a long line. And you play as the little arrow, and you control that little arrow with your controller, guiding it where to go. If you try to force it off the path, it actually does a really cool sound design thing where your screen or the line shakes, and it does like a fuzzy synthwave kind of like, oh, this is not good sound effect. So the goal is to follow the lines and figure out what the puzzle is and solve the puzzle. There's also like a spooky star dot that also chases you and can kill you. It's well, yeah. It sounds like I'm having a hard time describing it because that's all it is. If you're watching the video, it's like a black screen and some lines. But it's it felt really good to play. I know I said that about the last game, but this one also, like, once I picked it up, I kind of got it right away. It's one of those. And then trying to think of a game what this looks like. It reminds me of Tetris Effect.
Okay.
Like the trippy analog kind of spacey theme. Simple graphics, although Tetris Effect gets crazy, but it's kind of like that. I think the way the developer says it, like, it wants something chill but still something like challenging. Like, you're not getting bombarded with sound effects or graphics or like story. So it is chill, but it is challenging because there's literally no or not much text or instruction or context or anything to what you're supposed to do on each level. So you're a little spaceship that follows the line. The sound design's really good, and I think the developer, Milan, his comment is like he's still working on it, and he's working on ways to communicate the objective better.
Okay.
Like on the last level I played in the demo that he had there, I literally didn't know what to do, and he had to explain, like, oh, you have to actually collect these 3 dots and move them to the 3. It was actually this level you're watching the video. For like a second.
That sort of more complicated level.
Yeah, it was more complicated. But you are trying to deliver the 3 dots and then also dodge the spiky dot at the same time.
It, just watching the video and everything, it reminds me visually of that game company's first game, which was called Flow. And, I'm sure that's on more platforms now. I believe it came out on PS3 to start. But yeah, just kind of a simplistic design where it's sort of a single, plain colored background, but with just minimal action going on in terms of what you're controlling, what you're seeing. Obviously, gameplay objectives are a little different, but I almost wonder if, you mentioned that the developer is looking at how they can communicate the objectives to the player and everything. I look at something like this and I would hope that they are looking at other developers and other games like what that game company has done, where they have a very simplistic approach to game design and they teach you what to do in the game, honestly, through very simple means, right? It always starts where you're just a little thing and you're just moving very slowly, very simple objective, but it teaches you how the game works by saying, go from here to here. You do that, and now you know essentially how to play the game. But it's all, I guess what I'm going for is like menuless, right? It's all done and communicated through the actual gameplay, rather than something popping up on the screen and saying, collect the 3 dots, or, go from point A to point B. I really think that's kind of one of the areas where, that game company's games and games like that in particular can shine, is just in how they teach the player what to do through the actual gameplay of the game. So it reminds me of that. Interesting, that's for sure. Interesting looking. Even their video on the Steam page is short, but does kind of give you an idea of where they're at. So yeah, very, very interesting to see.
Yeah, check it out. I think you're right. It does seem like that is the direction that they're going to go with, and I really like the analog kind of synth wavy angle of the art style of this is kind of like that. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. Do you think when you played it, I mean, obviously you're at an event, you've had, probably the developer in your ear, maybe also, a whole bunch of stuff going on in the background. Did it give you kind of, I would say the Zen gaming vibes that I always felt like that game company's games kind of invoke?
I think it could. I think it could. I think part of the one thing that really stuck out to me right away was the developer gave me headphones. Milan gave me some headphones to wear, and the one thing I noticed right away was the sound design was like really, really cool and unique, but still fit what this game is, which is like synthwavy themed. I know there's a better word for those lines you see in those synthwaves, but it communicated what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong.
Right.
So I can see, and sound plays a huge role in the zenness of a game. So yeah, I can see this being like a little, like a zen, chill but challenging kind of game. It definitely was challenging, which I like.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. That is Stellations by Milan Corner Safrada, published by Screenprint. You can find that on Steam, or I think you can wishlist it on Steam.
Right.
There you go.
Very cool.
Next game, Jordan.
Next game. Coming
and I'll cue up the drum roll.
All right. Hit that drum roll, please.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I was hoping for this one.
Clown meat. All right.
Hit me with some clown meat.
Well, first, you got to hit me with what you think clown meat is.
Oh, right. Well, I got to admit, at first my brain went to clown and the eggplant emoji. I don't want to talk too much about that on here because we might get flagged, but I'm going to suggest that it's a game where you run a deli, and of course the twist is you're a clown. So it simulates working in the deli, probably from a first-person point of view, but, your big feet are always getting in the way. Customers come in and they honk your nose to get your attention, but that makes your anger go up. So then you might slip while you're chopping and preparing the meat. So all sorts of chaos ensues.
All right.
You're obviously correct.
Chaos ensues.
Okay.
Definitely. But clown meat is... I'll share the game first and I'll share a cool story. But clown meat is a precision platformer made by a person named Talia and Autumn West. You play as a clown, I guess.
Okay.
But it is a precision platformer, kind of like Celeste, kind of like Super Meat Boy. I know there's two meat thingies there. But it is, precision platformer. You're just trying to get through the levels. I believe the main mechanic is that you are a little clown person.
Right.
But if you press the trigger on the controller, from what they told me, you turn into a ball of meat.
Oh.
And you can use that shape and that ball to roll off ramps and walls, to build momentum, to hit jumps and whatnot.
Good Lord.
So this game, I actually didn't get to play at the event, but I watched someone play it extensively.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, I love the art style and the creativity of this. Yep. I believe Talia, she was the artist. She's got an amazing art style and sense of whatever this art style is. So much creativity. And another thing that I liked was they said this took place in Vancouver, or like Washington into Vancouver.
Sure.
So it is a precision platformer. You're running through levels, trying to get to the left to right. But I think the art style of this game is just so creative, and there's so many little callbacks and hints to Vancouver. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, this game is beautiful looking for a two-person team. I think they have other folks working on sound and that, but I think it's mainly two folks, Talia and Autumn West, working on Clown Meat, now on Steam. And before I let you answer your question, or ask your question, Jordan, when I got to the event, two folks behind me in clown makeup also got on the same elevator. Inside, I'm like, all right, this is interesting. I'm not sure.
I'm going to just turn around and go now.
I'm going to just, I don't know, are we going to the same event? But, they could be developers or just people who want to promote their game. Mm-hmm. And then, it turns out that was Talia and Autumn West. I got a picture with them. Let me grab the photo. Two super cool, incredible people. There's Talia and Autumn West there on the right.
Okay.
Two super cool people. They are definitely super smart and talented in their game. explained the game very well to me. Even though I didn't play it, I like got it right away, and I'm really excited to check out the demo. Still got to find time for that. But Clown Meat is one of the games I'm really hyped for. I believe they are targeting like a end of the year or early next year release, because it does look like almost everything's there. It might just be bug fixing and whatnot at the end. And yeah, one more thing is they plan this to be like a speedrunning game.
Right.
I'm not a speedrunner, but I enjoy watching people speedrun, and I do like those kind of speedrunning games. But they plan for this to be like a speedrunning staple. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it does in the speedrunning community, because it's got such a unique art style.
Wicked. Yeah, I look at this and I'm like, this game will find an audience. That audience is not me, but I kind of echo everything you said. Like, yeah, it's totally got a very cool visual style to it. Oh God, I keep hitting that very first video they have, and it starts with some very wet, gross noises that I do not like. But I want to watch the gameplay, so I click that first video and it plays that in my ears. Anyways, yeah, I echo everything you're saying about the visual style, the art, and everything. And I mean, the Super Meat Boy influence is very apparent as soon as you see the gameplay. In this little video on their Steam page, they actually have Isaac from Binding of Isaac in there as well. So lots of inspirations in there, I'm sure. And like I say, art-wise, I can appreciate this, but I also look at this and go, this is not for me. This is extreme in its depiction of meat, we'll say. And yeah, the clowniness of it as well is again, I can appreciate it all, but I will appreciate it at a distance.
Fair enough. Yeah, it is definitely not for everyone. It is very, if you're listening to the podcast, very bloody, lots of wrinkles and body parts and grotesque humor. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but it's definitely got a lot of that. But it does seem like a cool speedrunning game, so I'll definitely check this out when it comes out. Clown Meat below.
Yeah.
All right, back to the wheel. We are we're getting through it. We got a couple more.
Let's do a couple more
things.
Do you want to do all of them, or do you want to pick out some favorites or anything?
Ooh,
should we do one more spin and then maybe you pick out your favorites?
Sure. We are running a little long on this show, and I appreciate everyone listening so far. But why don't we do one more, and then I'll give some impressions for some other ones. Hey!
Oh, the headliner.
Jackbox Survey Scramble just came out yesterday as of our recording. On October 23rd. So Jackbox, if you don't know, is a party game series where the sell of the game is like you don't actually need to have a controller or know how a controller works. You play this game, one person runs this game on the screen, and then everybody else plays the games from their phones or if you want, like from a computer or anything with this internet connection and a keyboard. So this newest one from them is called Jackbox Survey Scramble. And if you ever watched Family Feud, this is pretty much that, which is really cool. So how it works is it collects information from other people playing Survey Scramble. Like while you're waiting in the lobby, it'll give you prompts. It's like, give me a 3-letter word, or name something that's awkward in the elevator. And then as it collects everyone's... Clown meat.
Clown meat in the elevator.
That literally happened to me. As it collects the answers, it will put it in its database, and then it will run games based on that data. So right now there's only 4 modes. I believe I heard from the developer at the at Twitch Vancouver. Oh, and by the way, they were running rounds of this at the Twitch Creator Meetup. Nice. That's where I first played it, and then I was like, "When's this game coming out?" And she's like, "Oh, in like 3 days." I was like, "That's amazing. I'm in." And there's 4 modes. One is the high-low. It'll give you a prompt, and then you have to guess the highest 2 answers and the lowest 2.
Okay.
And you're competing against other people just by typing it in. There's also I'm just going to pull up a screenshot here, a speed mode, see how many you can figure out on the list against other people at once. There's a tic-tac-toe mode that was kind of cool, but mixed reviews from my friend group that played it last night. Tic-tac-toe mode where you have to figure out like what word in each ranking under the prompt, and then try to make 3 in a row. It was pretty tough. There was a part where we got stuck. And then there's also a Pong mode that was really hard. You're playing Pong, or I guess like tennis, against another team, but where you place the bottom bar to bounce the ball is the popular and least popular scale. So you have to constantly think, like, if the prompt was plant, what's a plant people would think of? Maybe like tree. So tree would move over to most popular. Cactus maybe in the middle, and then far right would be like dandelion or something tougher, right? So that one was pretty tough because you had to think fast, and then you start panicking, and then the ball's coming closer, and then people just score. So it's a small game right now. It was fun playing at the event because we got like lobbies of 10 people easily. Just folks sitting, taking a break, and the Jackbox person had it running on the biggest TV they had there. Nice. So there are lots of rounds of those. As for the overall, for the Jackbox Survey Scramble, I was able to play a night of it with some folks last night. It's a very small game right now. They said they're going to add more modes to it. But for, I think it's $13 Canadian, so like $10 American probably. I would say it's pretty well worth its price, even for just a night of fun. And you can always come back to this. One of the selling points of this game, they say, is like, as more people play the game and as more people put answers in, then they'll get new results and new potential answers for their game. Right. So every time you play, it might change. Like, one thing that was really surprising, one of the prompts was slang. And then I think initially everyone's like, oh, like cool is a common slang, or swag is a common slang. But this game just came out. Probably a lot of people are going to pick the slang that's hot right now. So Skibbity was pretty up there.
Yep, Riz, Ohio.
Yeah, Riz was up there. Ohio was in there. And like pretty high bruh and bro.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Like, so maybe like certain prompts, as time goes on, like the answers will change. And I think it's a really cool concept. I can see why they haven't ripped off is the wrong word, been inspired by Family Feud until like now. Like, there's a lot of cool technology going on in this Jackbox Survey Scramble.
For sure. That's what a great idea. Like, just obviously with the power of the internet and everything, like, you know, Family Feud's whole thing is we surveyed 100 people and top 5 answers are on the board kind of thing. But this really kind of takes that to the next level. Like, we surveyed, you know, can you see how many people have downloaded something on Steam? I'm sure you
well, it's the downloads, but also just whoever's playing the game.
True,
like,
because this has everyone connecting in. So
you know, each prompt does kind of have like not a limit, but it'll tell you like 500 answers or 250 answers. So it'll kind of give you a bit of how many answers there are. But like, so there's a lot of cool surprises. It's like you put in bro and then it's number 20 and you're like, what? I thought I'd be way higher. Yeah.
And then bruh is number 2.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
that's great.
Like that. Yeah, cool. Highly recommend this one. Big fan of Jackbox.
Jackbox is always a great time. And I mean, I definitely like, this is a really good one that, you know, I mean, for me, someone who often watches a lot of high level first person shooter play, things like Overwatch, of course, few times at higher levels can be quite long sometimes. So what a lot of streamers will do is they'll tab out of Overwatch in between their matches and they'll put something else up on screen. Sometimes they'll play, you know, draw something and games like that with their community. And this would be a great one to just, you know, tab over to, play for, you know, the 10-15 minutes while the game is finding your match, and then, you know, jump back into the game. So yeah, compared to other Jackbox games as well, like these little ones go by really fast. I think the main one, our favorite one for sure, is high low, like highest and lowest.
under 10 minutes for each
Right.
game for sure. So we were able
Cool.
to put like three rounds of this back to back, and it was fun. Yeah, it's really cool. Jackbox Survey Scramble. Let's run through the other games I have on my list here.
Yeah.
Apologies to the devs if I don't get to your game or I don't give it too much time. I did enjoy every single game I played there. I will say that.
Very cool.
All right, Jordan, what's next?
Oh, you want to hear it? Boom. Do you have Discord open?
No, but I am going to see.
Okay, next is First Person Shouter.
Excellent. All right, first person shouter. I don't think they have a Steam page. Let me try it out. Oh, but why don't we keep
the dream going, and I'll describe it?
Yeah, what do you think it is?
First person shouter, I mean, it's obviously a first person game where it's kind of like Flappy Bird, where you tap the screen to make your guy go up and down, but it's first person and you shout to make your guy go up and down, or your character.
Close, actually.
Okay.
So first person shouter is a game by Neurotic Labs. And you are right. It is, well, I guess it's first person and then you're shouting. So what can you say? It's a game that you shout and play in. However, it's not a platformer. It's a rage room.
Oh.
How they described it to me was like coming home after a long day. Come into our rage rooms. You know, we got a bathroom, we got a bus stop, airport, office. So like different rage room kind of environments.
Okay.
And there's also different yells that you can do. I think one was like, it was like a punch. So it was like a yell you would go like, ah, like once.
Right.
And then there's a laser that you have to charge up. So you have to hold a really long ah. So this was really, this was really interesting. It's definitely super, super chaotic. And like, it was fun to blow up walls and see what you can smash and all that. So that was the first game I tried. That was really cool.
Okay.
They asked me like, what do you see this game being? So it sounds like they're still trying to figure out what it is. Right now they describe it as like a sandbox, like a playground.
Right.
But I would actually love to see this as a puzzle game, almost like Portal.
Oh, cool.
Different yells to get through different environments or break certain things. Maybe certain things can only be broken with certain yells.
What do you need to use in this situation to get around this obstacle kind of thing? What shout?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
And another cool thing was I actually found out near the end of my time there that my middle school friend Jay, she's working on this game.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what? Like, I haven't seen you in 20 plus years, and now you're working on
the
this
event?
Game? Yes, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, she caught me right before I was about to leave, so that was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Small world.
No kidding.
All right.
Next on the list is Meowmentum, which...
Yep.
If I had to guess, I would think that it's a lot like first-person shouter, but you play as a cat instead of a person, and you meow loudly to gain momentum.
Well, Meowmentum. You're better on the names than me because I didn't catch the Meowmentum moniker before.
It's
but
cat and momentum. Okay,
yes,
here we
exactly.
go. Here we go.
It is. It's a cat. It's a cat themed.
Oh wow!
Also, kind of a speedrunner,
but
platformer in the first person, and I would say it kind of if you've played Titanfall, it plays like that, where you're sliding, you're wall running, you're like grabbing stuff and pulling yourself closer. So it functions very much like that, but you are a cat, and the environment is all like cat walls and
it really is
felted stuff and boxes and cat trees.
It's like cat. Yeah, this is kind of hilarious.
So that's Meowmentum, and it's just a speedrunning game. You try to get the fastest times, make it to the beginning and end. Aporv was the person that was running this demo for me. He had the notebook out. He was watching my gameplay. I didn't feel like I had to perform, but I would say like once I got through the first level and second level, I'm like, oh, I'm probably better than most people at these 3D platforming games because I played so much Apex and Titanfall and Overwatch. So I was like ripping through a lot of the levels.
Oh, that's cool.
The good thing is there's a lot, but I was like breaking stuff at certain points. There was like a weird purple goop at one point, and it was also interesting, like side note, to see how these game developers think about teaching players. Like it's something that I don't think about. I don't know about you, but the weird purple thing, when I first saw it, I was actually not sure if it was like, oh, should I
Dangerous.
touch that? Should
Yeah.
I not touch that? So the developer was, Aporv was telling me like, was asking me questions like, oh, like how did it make you feel? Like what did you think when you first saw that? And a couple questions, I'm like, oh, he's asking me if it's being communicated that it's a bad thing.
Yeah, you're playtesting it.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't mind being an unofficial playtest, but I was like, yeah, they were getting my opinion on like did this communicate well, and I gave my thoughts. Yeah. So it was really cool to be a part of that process. A little
Wicked.
Yeah, playtest QA kind of guy.
Awesome.
Yeah, Meowmentum, you got it. It's a cat-themed speedrunning momentum game.
Very cool. Next up is Beastieball.
Beastieball.
Sorry, I'm not even giving you enough time to sip your drink there.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Beastieball is a take on baseball, but it's kind of like Space Jam meets baseball, because everyone that's playing is a beast of some sort. So, the Tyrannosaurus Rex can't really hold a bat, so he's got to be a catcher, and he catches with his mouth. The gorilla, however, is a really good pitcher, so the gorilla is the pitcher. You get what I'm saying? All sorts of different animals playing baseball.
Like a backyard baseball, but they're all animals. I like that. I like that idea. You're on the money. It is a volleyball themed beast game instead of characters. Okay. You are little beasts. And I would say it actually functions like Pokemon. Like
I was going to say, this looks turn-based combat kind of thing, but it's volleyball combat.
It's volleyball combat. It was really, at first I was like, oh, this is Pokemon. Yeah. This is cool, of course. I love the art style. The developer is Wishes Unlimited, and you might know them from another popular indie game called Chicory.
Oh, no kidding.
A Something's Tale, the game where you're a little dog with a paintbrush and you're painting.
Something's Tale.
I forget. But it's from that developer. I think they had a giant Chicory pop-up banner at the event as well. But you're not a dog in this game. You're like essentially like a trainer. I guess you're a coach. You coach these little animals to play volleyball. They evolve and they play volleyball against other beast animals. And it does very much work like Pokemon, where it's turn-based. You choose a move for your guy. It's a little more involved. Like you have to position your characters to be in the right place to accept like volleys or passes. So there is a lot of depth in that sense. But I love the art style, and I love the concept. I didn't quite grasp entirely how like the passing works, or like how to block and how to predict where the ball goes. I didn't entirely grasp that, but I only played this for like 5 minutes, and the fact that I understood like, oh, it's turn-based volleyball right away, like I think is a big positive factor of it. I will say one thing though, like I love the art style, but there were times where if you're watching the video, there's like a little cursor to see which character you're controlling. The cursor kind of gets lost in the mix, and I kind of lost track of what guy I was selecting, and had trouble like selecting the right person. I had to press back a lot, but no big deal. I'm probably just not used to it. But that was kind of my one of my takeaways. But overall, this game looks really cool. It looks like it has a lot of depth for sure. And I always love more Pokemon.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I think obviously the first thing that catches you is the bright colors and everything of the art style. It looks, I'm not sure when it is supposed to release. Looks like
no release date.
Okay, I was gonna say it looks maybe like there is an element of unfinished art to it, which as may be the case with many of these games. But just like you're talking about the UI and stuff like that, there's certain things that look kind of flat right now, and I can only assume that those will be, I don't want to say flashier, but more produced once the game is further along. But yeah, the art style really kind of strikes you. It has kind of a Scott Pilgrim vibe to it.
I see that.
Mixed with Pokemon designs and the animals kind of thing. So it's cool. It looks cool. It looks very cool.
Yeah, I totally see that actually. The Scott Pilgrim kind of youthful. Youthful inspiration.
Yeah,
for
characters
sure.
in the eyes and everything. So
for sure. Yeah, Beastieball. It is, the page is up on Steam, so check it out.
And there's a demo. It looks like
there is a demo. And
cool.
and I'm gonna add this to my wish list right now.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Next up is the Dream Recorder.
Oh, the Dream Recorder. I wonder if this is on Steam so I can pull something up. But Jordan, what do you think the Dream Recorder is?
The Dream Recorder is actually inspired by my wife's former roommate when she was in her first year of university. One of the, you know, how you go to university and they assign you random roommates if you stay on campus. And one of the girls that was one of her roommates liked to play the recorder at 3 a.m. Whether or not that was intentionally to disrupt other people or just something that this person did, we never found out. But it is actually the tale of her playing recorder in the night to capture her roommate's dreams because she was actually a witch.
Okay. Not sure if this is a true story that was a true story or not.
Aspects of that were true.
Perfect. But the Dream Recorder is, I'm actually not sure what it is completely, to be honest. Didn't find a Steam page, but I did find this gameplay video.
Someone playing it?
Yeah, so somebody playing
Shout
it. I believe this was...
Who's this?
I believe this might be the dev. His name is
okay.
Sean. Yeah,
Sean.
This might be him.
Shout out to Sean.
Sean is an artist. He actually worked on a couple of games you might have known. One called Inscription.
Oh wow!
He was. I think he did some of the art for it. Is what he said.
As soon as you say that, you can see the Inscription vibes in the water if you're watching the video right now.
Totally, yeah. And he had a sketchbook there too, and I was like, yeah, this is totally like Inscription vibes.
Yeah.
I don't think he's worked on indie stuff before, but he says he's been in the industry for a long time. I can totally see that he's like a very talented artist. But in this game, it's apparently a very early build, which is like surprising because there's a lot of assets done. But in my demo that I played is different from this. The demo I played, I was a little cat that ran around the house, interacted with like a couple interestingly shaped characters, and then there's a button
that was
like they look like the little monster, or they look like a robot, and then or like the skull kid, and then there was a button that said end day, and then the cat walked up to the top of the house. The character asked the cat, like, how's your day? And the cat was like, oh, you know, same old, such is life for a cat. And the guy said, all right, it's like, that sounds good, let's do it again tomorrow. And then the world explodes. Like there's like a nuke goes off, and I was like, whoa. It's like, okay, I'm interested. I want to figure out, like, is this cat stuck in a time loop? Like, are they like is this a dream? Like, why am I the cat?
End? Is what we're seeing on screen here when he goes to the end?
No, this is a completely different demo. Sounds
game.
like there's a tarot card looking thing. It's not actually tarot cards, but it kind of looks like that. So apparently it's supposed to just be like a big story, and as the cat, that's your vessel to experience the story. So maybe like a walking sim in the end, but the art is really selling it for me. I want to see what the story is, and like, what is this world? It does have a very dreamy, ethereal sense to it. Like stuff makes sense. It's all familiar stuff, but it's also doesn't make sense logically. And it seems like there's a lot of characters going on. Yeah,
it's like Mayor is a slot machine. Like his body is a slot machine.
That's true. And he's got lots of paper. The buildings are open, like in dreams sometimes.
Yeah. Bowserville. Okay.
Yeah. Fortunately, not on Steam yet, I don't think. But if you want to keep in the loop of this game, you can check out the website. I believe it is. Or if you Google the Dream Recorder, you should be able to find it. And I'll put it in the description below.
Cool. I don't have a ton to say about that. It looks like a wild ride. If you're not watching the video version of this, then go check out the video version or look up the Dream Recorder gameplay, because it is hard to describe. Everything Samson said is true. And that's all I can really say.
I know. I mean, there's not much going on yet, but it does have my interest.
Cool. Very cool. All right.
Awesome.
Well, the next one is Dot Defense.
Defense. Give me your guess.
Dot Defense is actually a game where you play as a character named Punctuation, and you are tasked with fortifying a town called Grammar. And so you are building fences and, of course, fortifying defense around the town.
You know what?
Tower
you
defense
kinda,
is the genre.
hey, I was gonna say you started to get close to it near the end there because dot defense is an RTS.
I was gonna go RTS, and then I thought tower defense because it's in the title. But
it's got tower defense elements to it.
Okay.
It's got a little bit of both, but it is an RTS. It's called dot defense because the graphics are kind of pixely.
Okay, right.
It's got like pixely assets, but the way they described it it is a single screen RTS that players, I think like 1 to 4 or whatever players can all play on one screen, and they have a way to play it with controller. So most RTSs are played mouse and keyboard, but they figured out a control scheme that you play with like a normal controller.
Cool.
On a single screen. It doesn't zoom in and out. But when you play single player, you can zoom in and out for all that. I think the idea is like, everyone plays on the same screen. The control method they have is like the joystick's your cursor, and then depending on which face button you press or shoulder button you press, it's the command that you give to it. So you're commanding your units, you're trying to take over zones, you're building structures in different zones to enforce your stuff and whatnot. It's kind of Advance Warsy with the over the top pixel warfare.
Right.
The tutorial they had for the controller method was really good. Like, I was surprised I got it right away. Like, controller RTS, I haven't played a single one, not even Halo Wars, but I figured this out right away. And it was really fun. I could see it as like a really casual party RTS you can play with friends. Kind of reminded me of what's that game where you play as bees? Killer Queen. Kind of reminded me of that.
I would not have guessed Killer Queen from the game where you play as bees. I was like Bee Simulator, but
maybe no. It's Killer Queen is another game you play on like one screen that doesn't move. But Rattle Axe Games, working on something cool.
Very cool.
Definitely play tested for them. One kind of critique I had was like it wasn't clear kind of how I get more resources to build more units. But I thought I had to, and this is just my StarCraft experience talking, I had to farm resources somewhere.
Right.
But apparently, like the more home bases you build, the more
you produce.
The more slots or like structures you can build out. So that was something to work on, but I had a really positive experience coming out of this.
Cool. Looks good. I'm actually a big fan of tower defense. Not that I've played a ton, but I love tower defense, and I always wanted to get into RTS games, but just never really. I mean, I was never big into PC gaming, and never really had any that spoke to me outside of that. If I was an Xbox gamer, I'm sure I would have dabbled in Halo Wars, but never found one. But I'd love to try
might be the
RTS.
one.
So yeah. Absolutely.
Dot defense, super fun, like super humorous as well. I didn't mention that, like very funny.
Oh, cool,
awesome. Good. Dot defense, and is this our last game coming up?
Yes, we are on to the very last one. If you'd like to talk about Tank Light,
all right, give me your pitch on Tank Light as I try to find something about it.
Tank Light is an action horror survival game. Similar to, your Resident Evils, your Silent Hills, kind of third person over the shoulder. However, your character is a tank, with a flashlight. So, the kind of hook is that, you don't just get attacked by one zombie because you are a tank and you would basically just run over it. It's thousands come at you at once, but you're a tank, so you blow them up very much. Yes.
Well, you're on the money. You are a tank.
You are a tank. I knew it.
Have you played Tank?
I have
think
not
that's
played.
the name of the game.
I have heard of Tank. I've not played Tank.
In Tank, it's, and I think like other tank kind of games in that era.
Tank likes?
Yeah, Tank likes. And in Wii Party was back in the day.
Oh yeah,
basically,
I remember that.
It's like top down, and you're a little tank, and you drive them around. It's like a twin stick shooter. You move with one stick, you aim with the other, and you shoot. So that's kind of the perspective you're playing as. Oh, and for video listeners, video watchers.
Video. Yeah.
Couldn't find anything on this because I just remembered this was actually a student's project that I played.
Oh, okay.
He was just trying to get some feedback and experience on it.
Cool.
But that is the perspective. It's like a tank twin stick shooter, and you are trying to get through these levels because it is also a roguelite. So you go through these levels, grab keys, grab upgrades for your tank,
cool.
and then bring them into the final boss and try to kill it.
Right, and that's where the light comes from. I see. I was thinking like a flashlight, like, survival horror game.
I'm sure whoever's driving the tank might have a flashlight in
Good point. Good point. It's dark in that tank.
And the art style's like a little cartoony. It is very much like a student project. It worked well, and it was just very basic. Ty, the developer, super nice guy, and he's looking for a real artist. He says like the tank that he used was like some free one he found on the internet. So super simple. It was like a good foundation. Yeah, very chill. Tank light.
Wicked.
Amazing. Wow. How many games was that? Like 10? 1, 2,
I think
3,
you're right.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes.
10.
10.
Yeah. So I managed to play 10 games in the about 2-ish hours I was there. No, maybe a little more. 3 hours I was there, plus all the networking. But Twitch Vancouver, thank you for putting that on. Can't wait for the next one. I had a really fun time, and I have a lot more pictures I can maybe throw up on the @GrowUpLevelUp Instagram and Twitter and all that. I'll throw up some pictures of me there. I guess I didn't get too many pictures, but that was really fun. Cool. And please follow @Twitch Vancouver on everything. I think they're on like Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky now. That's like the new thing to hop over to. So go check them out, and hope to see you at the next one. And if you see me at the next one, feel free to say hi. I don't bite. I love meeting folks. Yeah, thanks for hosting it, Twitch Vancouver. That was really cool. We are running a little long on our episode today, so thank you to everyone sticking around so far. Jordan, do you want to touch on what you've been playing this past week, or shall we save that for next week?
Oh boy, we can save that exciting stuff for next week. I don't need to talk more about Overwatch. So
fair enough. Yes, I have also been dipping my toe back in. I'm trying to get the gang back together,
nice,
as they say. But maybe we can link up again when 6v6 comes out.
Ooh, yeah.
So if you made it this far in the episode, please put an Apple emoji in the comments, or I think they have comments on Spotify or whatever podcast as well.
Right.
Thank you for listening so far. Next week, we have an interview episode, taking a little break from the pattern here. We're doing an interview episode with a fellow kind of funny best friend named Jerica from JK Games. Jerica is a newly made? No, newly
a
crescent.
Baby. She's an infant.
She just jumped into content creation full time, and we're doing an interview episode with her to talk about her experience so far moving jobs, moving industries, because I'm not sure what her previous job was, but might not be content creation. We're going to talk about that, interview her, and learn a little bit about what she likes to play in her 5 to 9 after her 9 to 5, or her, I don't know,
or both, because now it's all the same.
It's all a blur from there on. So make sure you are subscribed and following us on everything for all that. My name has been Samson. You can find me at SamsonXP. That has been
Row Up Level Up. Oh, you mean what's my name?
Yeah.
I've been and still am Jordan, Sir Dr. JM. That's Sir DRJM on all social platforms. Follow me on Twitter, but more importantly, follow me, as you mentioned, Samson, on Blue Sky. I joined just the other day, maybe last week, some point, after seeing so many people making the move. I think Twitter made some changes to their block feature, or they are making changes, and a lot of people said sayonara. So I jumped over to Blue Sky, and what can I say? It is very similar to Twitter, but it does feel like a better environment than a lot of what goes on Twitter. So I'm enjoying it so far. So follow me on Blue Sky. If you search for Sir Dr. JM, Sir DRJM, you'll find me over there.
Awesome. And find me on Blue Sky too. I believe
I am.
I believe I'm Samson XP on Blue Sky. Let me double check, and I'll put the right one in the description below. Follow me and everything. Also follow Grow Up Level Up on everything as well. We are Grow Up Level Up is for sure on Blue Sky. We'll try to post more on there, but most importantly, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on wherever you get your podcast. And next week we're bringing in Jerica for an interview episode. Maybe one that is spooky themed because it is Halloween.
Ooh, yes, we may have some visual surprises for the visual listeners.
So the visual listeners. So you better visually subscribe.
That's right.
To our visual podcast,
That's
Grow Up
right.
Level Up on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Jordan, what's your famous last words?
Famous last words? Drink Diet Coke.
I prefer Coke Zero.